from the central coast of Chile. Welcome to the GCN show.
Welcome to the GCN show.
Coming up this week, our biggest cycling fears. What worries us most about bike riding?
We're also going to take a look at some brand new cycling shoes, a bike that is a work of art, and we're going to check in with Manon and Ollie as they prepare for winter.
Yeah, like a couple of squirrels.
This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that, contrary to what most people would believe, this bike is a work of art.
Or at least it was a work of art until it was stolen, unfortunately. Again, as well, by the look of it.
Yeah, it formed part of a new piece of Banksy artwork with the mural behind there depicting a girl hula hooping with the missing back wheel. So there's a certain degree of irony to the fact that the rest of the bike is now missing too.
Yeah, it's like even more arty, isn't it? Anyway, we'll have more on that story later on. We also learnt this week that Fabio Jakobsen is now back on his bike, which is brilliant news. You will remember Fabio was the rider that was caught up in that horrendous crash at the Tour of Poland in August. Now, 3 months and multiple operations later, as you can see, he is finally back on two wheels.
Forza Fabio, that really is brilliant news. Now, of course, everybody is hoping that he will make a complete return to form physically, but what remains to be seen is that if he manages that, whether or not it will affect his trade, which is sprinting, of course. And that brings us nicely onto our main topic of discussion on the GCN show this week, which is, what are our biggest cycling fears?
Yeah, now if we stick with sprinting, by their very nature, successful sprinters have to have little or no fear. I mean, if most of us were in that situation that Jakobsen had been in the Tour of Poland, we would not only have slammed our brakes on, but we'd have probably slammed them on some considerable time before. I certainly don't pedal at 80 kilometers an hour anymore, let alone sprinting flat out. But for a sprinter, as soon as you start putting on your brakes in a sprint, that's effectively your career over, isn't it?
Days numbered, yeah. And I think it's that, well, apart from the huge punch that they pack at the end of a sprint, that separates them from the rest of us mere mortals. It's the psychology of it, isn't it? Because most people's biggest fear when it comes to cycling is crashing.
Yeah, and not surprising, really, is it? I mean, the mere thought of sliding down tarmac or asphalt with only a thin layer of lycra for protection is enough to chill you to the core.
He didn't really test the limits of tyre grip in that video, did he?
Not
as he was supposed
really.
to. He just sort of went through the corner fairly slowly and just fell off.
He did, yeah.
Anyway, I think it's that intrinsic fear of crashing, which is completely understandable, that leads us to fear other things in cycling that might lead us to crash, such as ice or descending or riding on an open road with other traffic users, or maybe just riding in a group where you might end up crashing through no fault of your own.
Yeah, I get the fear of riding in traffic on a TT bike. That gives me the right heebie-jeebies. But anyway, a lot of cycling fears are far less serious, though, than falling off, aren't they? I mean, I have another fear of driving somewhere long distance to like an organised ride or even a GCN filming shoot and forgetting an essential piece of equipment. We touched on it a couple of weeks ago on the GCN show. Forget your helmet, you could probably ride in some circumstances.
Borrow one.
Yeah, borrow one. If you forget like your bike computer, that's no biggie unless you're a total data freak. But your shoes, that's a big one, isn't it? People rarely have spare shoes, and if they do, are they likely to be the right size with the right cleats?
Not really.
No.
Oh, you finished?
Yeah.
Because, well, I was expecting more, because you told me a day or two ago that your biggest fear when it comes to forgotten kit is not having your socks.
Well, no, that is true, actually. I was going to mention that, but I've got cold feet. So.
But
yeah.
Oh, it's great to be back, Si.
It's good to have you back.
No, but you
mate.
told me that you had a fear of forgetting your socks in case you resembled a triathlete.
Well, yes, that is true. And I also don't want to draw any more attention to my ankles than I otherwise would do.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, that is very true. Now, one fear that I think a lot of people might have had, but which we kind of don't really need to have anymore, is getting lost. Isn't it? Think about it. Like, for some, it's the part of the reason why they do ride, is that sense of adventure, exploration, a step into the unknown.
What a rubbish ride.
But for many people, the fear of getting lost is a proper, tangible fear. But thanks to modern technology, with like GPS head units, your mobile phone, you pretty much can't get lost these days in normal life. I mean, I haven't got lost for years. Have you got lost?
I don't think I've ever been lost, on a bike.
I mean, that is weird as well, because the amount of times that people tell you to do so.
Another one.
Yeah.
He's on form this week.
I've been stacking them up, mate.
Blimey. Yeah, it's quite hard to get lost when you've been told to get lost, in my experience. One of my biggest fears is hitting the wall, or bonking, as it's sometimes termed. There's nothing quite like that feeling, is there, of having absolutely no energy, lightheadedness, just daydreaming about diving into a swimming pool of chocolate. Once you've felt that, you don't ever want to feel it again. It's horrible, isn't it? I think actually it might be that fear of bonking that allowed me to put on 4 kilograms in the first 2 weeks of my first Grand Tour.
Didn't run out of energy there, did you, mate?
No, I was literally full of energy at that race.
The thing is, bonking now, hitting the wall, it's not as bad as you get older, is it? Like, it just, it doesn't affect you the same as when you're a kid. So it's weird that you've still got that fear. I mean, there must have been something traumatic in your childhood that's meant that you've got this fear.
Well, there was.
Was there?
Yeah, when I was 14 or 15, I was doing a Southern Area mountain bike series race at Stanmere Park in Brighton. And I was doing really well. But after lap 1, it started raining. So what was a 25-minute lap became more of a 45-minute lap. So by the time I'd completed lap 2, I was still right up there, but I was already almost an hour and a half into the race. And on that last lap, I really started to bonk, and I had to get off my bike and start walking. And eventually, I couldn't even walk up this climb anymore. I had to just collapse at the side of the path there. And by this point, the Masters racers, they were all catching me from behind, and I was desperately pleading with them, have they got a gel or a bar or whatever? And somebody threw me like their rubbish, basically. It was like a gel that had a little minuscule of gel left in it, which I managed to get out. But I couldn't move. Eventually, St. John's ambulance had to drive up to the top of the hill and walk about 200 meters down it to give me some biscuits and put that foil stuff around you. And I was transported to the finish line in St. John's ambulance, which was all downhill. I just couldn't get to the top of the hill. The lights went out.
Let's just clarify this. You bonked so badly you had to get an ambulance.
I did, yes.
Well, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where Dan's fear comes from.
Yeah, I will never forget that, obviously. However, we did ask other presenters here at GCN, or at least some of them, what their biggest fears are when it comes to cycling. And as you can imagine, a common theme was crashing. However, Connor's was an interesting one because his biggest fear was not crashing himself, but crashing his teammates, which I think says a lot about his character. He's a true gent.
He is, what a nice guy.
Yeah, he is. Although I did wonder why his biggest fear wasn't low bridges. Which is what I expected the answer to be.
Well, Hank's fear was getting dropped, which I thought was an interesting one, because that's obviously a fear that he has to overcome regularly.
He definitely, he got over that a lot, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But as a bike racer, you can completely sympathise, because actually the fear of getting dropped is a real one. And I don't know why, it kind of magnifies your head, doesn't it? To the point where holding the wheel almost feels like life and death. You know, when you're not racing, it really doesn't matter because, if you do get dropped, then the group will hopefully just wait for you.
Yeah, and if they don't, you should perhaps question whether or not that is the group to be riding with, because they really should wait for you. And if you're doing a mass participation sportive or Gran Fondo, the likelihood is that if you get dropped from the group you're in, there'll be a whole host of groups that can pick you up from behind.
Yeah. Manon said that one of her biggest cycling fears actually is a hangover from her team pursuit days riding for GB. So she said she used to get the fear when she looked at the weekly planner and she saw negative split day in there, because that basically is like the most brutal training session. You start fast and get faster and faster and faster. That's pretty grim.
Nice being retired, isn't it? I mean, I set out these days slowly, with the plan of getting slower and slower till I see the pub and there's a big sprint right at the end. Meanwhile, Alex said that his biggest fear as a pro rider was not making a time cut, which I think most GCN presenters can empathise with. Whilst Bridgewood said his biggest fear, there's a stranger on this one, running on camera.
Of course, that's not his biggest fear. We just wanted another excuse to relive that glorious moment one more time.
Yeah. Serves him right, doesn't it, for not replying to our WhatsApp group asking for your biggest fears. Should we have it one more time? Great technique.
Did you see that run though?
Oh, we had a different one that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
That was good, wasn't it? Anyway, you know what's coming. We, of course, would like to know what your biggest cycling fears are. Not the obvious ones of crashing, because as we said, most people do fear crashing on a bike. But if you've got any irrational fears related to cycling, we would absolutely love to hear those. And we'll read out the best ones this time next week.
Getting less fit is another of mine.
Is it?
Yeah, and like, it genuinely, so if I can't ride my bike, not only do I get frustrated that I can't ride my bike, I also then start getting genuinely like fearful that I'm gonna get less fit, even though it doesn't matter in the slightest. But,
You want to do what I've done and get very unfit, because then you know you're going to get better once you do start cycling.
That is a good
again.
point, actually. Yeah, once you've got over the hump of like fearing that you're going to get less fit, then presumably it's just plain sailing.
Well, otherwise you might live in fear, Si, for the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually.
That is a good point to end on.
Well, another fear that you might have is the fear of your bike breaking. So permit me, if you may, for me to do a quick plug for the GCN shop, because we've got a new GCN book, which is super cool. Our first ever maintenance book. Check it out. There it is. Doesn't that look cool?
It is very cool. You would not believe how long it took me to write this book, Si. No, I'm only joking. Somebody that knows what they're doing with a bike wrote the book called GCN's Essential Guide to Bike Maintenance. There were 71 walkthroughs with everything from bike setup to roadside hacks.
Yeah. Anyway, you can check it out over in the GCN shop now and get a cheeky order in. Good Christmas present material, that one.
Oh, that would be a great Christmas present, yeah. I could probably do it myself.
Hello, so I'm back with another little update on how my transition down plan is going. Just finished my warm-up for today's session. My session today is alternating between 75 and 85% of my FTP, so yeah, quite juicy. I think I did underestimate this plan. I thought, transition down plan's nice and relaxing and, you know, a little bit easy. It's not. My heart rate has been hitting some pretty high numbers in these sessions, and yeah, it's pretty hard sessions too. I've had the sprint session is definitely a standout session from the other day where, yeah, my heart rate was pretty high and I was doing about, I think I did probably 9 or 10 sprint intervals in the half an hour session. And the video on the screen was showing World Tour races and, you know, the likes of Peter Sagan sprinting, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretending I was Peter Sagan sprinting in a World Tour race. Definitely wasn't going as fast. Actually, I'd go nowhere because I'm on the turbo trainer, but yeah, plan's going well. Got a few minutes now before my first effort, so I will catch you in a bit.
Next up, GCN Inspiration, which is of course where you submit your inspirational cycling photos or videos to the GCN app. We pick our favourite 3, all of which will win themselves a prize. And third prize this week, a pair of GCN Elite water bottles.
And the winner of said prize is Dream Chaser 09. So they've sent in this amazing photo from Yosemite bike ride. The ride was definitely worth it. 6,000 feet of elevation gain, not to mention the views are incredible.
Fantastic. Dream Chaser's caught his dream.
Absolutely, yeah.
He dreams
Awesome.
of views like that.
Yeah. Second place, winning a GCN Core t-shirt in blue. Plus,
Just before we carry on with that,
Go on.
we are supposed to mention, aren't we, the fact that we've got some new Core sweatshirts and hoodies that Si and I are sporting today as well. Which you
yeah.
can find over in the GCN shop, shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. You'll find a link on screen right now.
that was really fast. Have you been practicing in your time off?
It's like those American adverts, commercials, isn't it, where they have to read out the
small print.
The small print. But well, if my beard gets any longer and greyer, I do feel a bit like Father Christmas with this one on. I don't normally wear red very much. Does it suit me?
Yeah, no, I'd say it's suiting.
Oh, I'm great with that. The blue
I was
looks shocking
looking
on
to
you.
the viewers for some form of approval there. Disapproval.
Yeah,
What do you think, guys?
I will not be asking for comments on how I look in red.
You'll get them. Anyway, the winner of second prize is this one, which is sent in by Mengal? Is that Mengay?
Mengai.
Mengai, Reflections. I took this photo just after the rain at Mount Stromio University, Canberra, Australia. That's amazing, isn't it?
That's a great photo, yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow.
I'm not sure it's inspired me in the strictest sense of the word.
Well, I chose this one, Si, and that did go through my mind.
Did
It
it?
might not be inspirational. I just thought it was such a quality photograph that it deserved a prize.
Go on then. Fair enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll have a discussion afterwards.
No, Dan, you go for it, mate. I think that's great.
Anyway, didn't win first prize, which this week wins our new book. How to Cycle Further by Mark Beaumont, plus a GCN Red Core t-shirt and 2 GCN Elite water bottles in black, which is why we specified the colour, but there you go. And it goes to Bear Biker.
Wow.
Riding into Bend, Oregon. You're looking at back road into Bend, Oregon, approximately 30 miles across the central Oregon Badlands. On the far left is Mount Bachelor.
Wow. That is
what a view
photo
that is.
and a half, isn't it? I tell you what, that road is perfect for anyone who's got a fear of cornering. 60-mile ride by the look of it, and you'd only have to do one turn at the end of it.
Although not so good if you've got a fear of ice, by the looks of things. It looks a little bit chilly, doesn't it? What a cracking photo. Very deserving of first prize this week.
I've always wanted to go to Bend as well. Genuinely, like, for mountain biking, but that just, there's a timely reminder. That's all
travel.
Absolutely, yeah. Good point. All right. Anyway, please keep your inspirational photos coming in. I'll say videos too. Not that we've ever had one, but
no, we had one or two maybe.
Have we?
But not in the last year.
Here's a tip: if you send us a video, it's probably going to win a prize. Anyway, do keep them coming in, and of course, you can look at them all on the GCN app because there's stacks and stacks of amazing inspirational photos on there too.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we will start with news of an interesting signing into the pro cycling ranks. It's another skier. So we've had Primož Roglič, of course, who transitioned from ski jumping in 2012 to now the highest echelons of the World Tour.
Yeah, he's done all right, Primož Roglič.
He has,
but this skier is a cross-country skier. They're well known, of course, for their impressive physiologies and very high VO2 max figures, shall I say. Will that translate into pro cycling? Well, we are about to find out because Androni Giocattoli Sidemek have signed 22-year-old Spaniard Marti Vega on a 2-year deal, which is quite short actually for Gianni Savio, the manager of that team. He tends to go for 4-year deals with youngsters and then tries to get a transfer fee.
Nice. So what we're saying then is that we're about to find out, but Gianni Savio doesn't think he's going to be that good.
No, well, yeah, I guess that is. If it's 2-year contract, maybe he doesn't want to take the risk of him not being good and having to pay him for 4 years.
Yeah. God, imagine that. Just like you're rubbish for 4 years, but you still get a paycheck. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Well, we've done that for 8 years now.
Good point. Last week we speculated as to the future of Team NTT. This week we can confirm that Team NTT, firstly, will be continuing next year, but it will be known as Team Quebecer ASOS. So Quebecer is a charity that they've had a long-standing relationship with, and ASOS are now increasing their investment to go from clothing partner to title sponsor.
I am very pleased that team is continuing into next year and hopefully beyond. They do, though, reportedly have the smallest budget of any World Tour team in 2021. However, given how many riders are still looking for a contract and desperate to get a ride next year with the hope of moving back up the ladder from a salary point of view, I think they could have a pretty blooming good team based on what's out there at the moment for quite a cheap price.
Yeah. Now, Dan, back to the Banksy. There has been yet another twist to that story because it turns out that actually the bike was not stolen. It was the owner of the building on whose building Banksy sprayed the artwork that's actually removed the bike for safekeeping. But the question is the bike still art when it's not with the rest of it, or is it now back to just being a complete piece of junk with bits missing?
Well, I wouldn't pay much for that bike if I
wouldn't.
was offered it by the person that stole it without the artwork stolen with it.
Yeah.
But apparently somebody, before they knew why the bike had disappeared, replaced it with another cheap bike because they said it added to the artwork, which it does, of course. But it was quite apt what they replaced it with, an old rally, because rallies were manufactured in that area of the UK, Nottingham.
So is that bike now part of the artwork?
Oh my goodness.
Have they just added hundreds of thousands of pounds to the value of that crap old
We
bike?
get one of our old bikes up there, quick smartish, didn't we?
Well, I'm wondering whether this could be a little bit of a money spinner. Stick it on eBay so that, it could be a Banksy. And
take a quick photo of it, put
jobs
it
are
up there.
good. Yeah. A bit like you could buy a white Cannondale, stick some stickers on it and say that it's an EF Palace limited edition
put
Giro
a duck
bike.
on it.
Put a duck on it.
I think we should probably move on.
Probably should, yeah.
To the new shoes that we talked about in the intro to the GCN show today. They come from Adidas. Both Adidas and Nike used to produce cycling shoes that you could buy many years ago, but they've both been absent, or Nike at least, except for Adam Blythe's custom kicks. But Adidas have recently released some brand new road cycling shoes, and you never guess what they called them.
Go on, what are they called?
The road cycling shoes.
Wow. Original.
Genius.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Ron Seal name, isn't it? That one? For those of you who, well, probably not British, in fact, Ron Seal, it basically does what it says on the tin, doesn't it?
That was the advert, wasn't it?
That was.
Is that only in the UK? I don't know.
I've got no idea. I've never looked for Ron Seal here or abroad.
Let us know in the comments. Do you know the Ron Seal tagline elsewhere?
Anyway, back to the shoes. Importantly, they come in black with white stripes and white with white stripes. And they're also woven out of recycled materials, which is very cool if you ask me. And actually they're not ridiculously expensive, not by any stretch of the imagination, or at least not by any stretch of cycling shoes. About £130, euros or dollars.
Which is still expensive, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
I know what you mean, because you can spend, what, 300, 400 quid on a pair of cycling shoes, maybe more.
Yeah, but you
I
could
would never
spend
spend
60
130 quid on a pair of normal shoes.
No.
I'm way too tight. I'm way too tight for that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Quite reasonable.
Let us know whether you think it is hot or not. There'll be a poll in the app, so you can head over there now. Personally, I actually really like those white ones. As long as they don't make my ankles look fat, then I'll be well up for them.
The black ones look like sort of cheap football boots, don't they? From 1976.
A little bit, yeah. You know, Adidas used to sponsor Eddie Merckx.
Yes, I did read that in the press release, I think. Right, we're going to move on now to some lucky winners of our recent giveaways of the Cell San Marco saddles and the Giro Helios helmets. Starting with the saddles then, a big well done to Felix Schwill over in Germany. Ashraf Mohammed, is that Taiwan? Simon Penot of France and Zoltan Belesne of Hungary. And the Giro Helios winners are Lauren Dexter here in the UK, also in the UK, James Alder, and over in the US, Juan Azaje.
Nice. Dan, can I just interrupt you? News just in from the GCN app. The poll results, 48% say not hot, 52% say hot. So there we go. Everyone's very much on the fence.
They've only put the black ones up though so far. Maybe get the white ones put up as well.
That's the problem. To be fair, all cycling shoes have to be white anyway.
Do they?
Well, I think so, personally. But, or at least my cycling shoes do. Right then, we have news of another competition actually for you right now. It's not one of ours, is it? It's a new competition from Cannondale.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
They're giving away the System 6 of Rigoberto Urán. Not just any System 6 that he's ridden, but the one that he rode at the Tour de France on the final day around the Champs-Élysées. So it comes complete with race number from the Tour de France, which he has signed, and it also comes with his power meter. Although the readings you get may differ to those of Rigoberto Urán's.
Oh, that's super cool, isn't it? Even though it doesn't fit me, I'd still fancy that part.
Yeah, well, you are eligible. It's not eligible for everybody around the world. I'll read out the list of countries. You can enter from the United States, Canada, excluding Quebec, not sure why about that, Austria, France, Germany, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, and Switzerland. And it's basically a raffle, it's like a sweepstake. So you can find details of how to enter that giveaway in the description below this video. Hack/bodge of the week now. Next week's are already up on the app for you to vote on. This week's start now. First one comes in from JCPC. Solution to cover the frame holes if you upgrade to an E-tap. Use foam earplugs, paint them, and pinch the ends to fit in the hole.
Not bad. Looks pretty neat. It's not 3D printed though, is it? So what are we going to say? I mean, that feels like a bit of a bodge, if I'm completely honest.
What would you do?
Well, it's an earplug.
You'd leave it, wouldn't you? You'd have it whistling as you rode through the air.
Honestly, I'd probably use insulating tape. That stuff's great, isn't it? Covers all manner of sins on a bike. No, go on, okay. It's probably a hack then, isn't it?
I'm going for hack with that one because he's done a good job of painting them.
Yeah,
I presume that matches the rest of his bike. 77% of people deemed that to be a hack.
There we go. Nice. Well done, JCPC. Next up, we've got this one from Zan Shin. I like this.
Hack.
But yeah, Bosch up a Zwift setup that compensates for my lack of fitness. Imagine unleashing a motorbike around Zwift.
Wow.
Joy riding.
Well, it sounds like you lot doing a GCN presenter stuff could have done with a motorbike.
That is true, yeah. When you were saying about fear of getting dropped, I was getting flashbacks actually to last week. the fear was there. I like that. That's very funny.
Next up, Heck17 zip tie hack. Lost the link, zip tie works.
No. What?
Well, it wouldn't work for me with my power.
I was going to say, come on. I've seen it done with a piece of wire, like twisted to fix the link, but a plastic zip tie.
Well, we once tried on a roadside hack, or I did, for a GCN roadside hack maintenance video to zip tie a broken free hub.
Yeah, that was my idea.
How was it? Well, that didn't work because I was out in the cold for blooming hours trying to do that for a video.
Yeah,
and
weird
I took one pedal stroke and the whole lot broke. Very strong zip ties they were as well.
Yeah, I'm sure about
bodge for that one, and that is what 60% of you thought as well.
Good, well done. Next up, this one from Zuzuki, which, now interesting, we're talking electronics here, so I'm instantly thinking it's going to be a hack. Di2 blip mod, $3.96 total. Decided to play around my Di2 setup, went to a local electronics store, 2 micro switches for $3.96, damaged Di2 cables from my local bike shop, cable prep, bit of soldering, insulation tape, see, and job done. Worked perfectly. There we go.
No 3D printing though.
No, it does look a bit pants, but...
well, he is going to pull the hood back over it at some point, I'm sure.
No, the button looks a bit pants.
But won't the hood cover that up? Maybe it won't. Maybe
You wouldn't have thought so, would it?
No, maybe not.
Anyway.
Right, bodge.
Yeah, well, $3.96. It was pretty cool, isn't it? But...
I didn't realise that we were judging hacks and bodges after 8 years on the price that they cost to make.
Well, no, we're not, are we? Got them bodge, rubbish.
I'm going to say bodge, but we are very much in the minority side. We're very harsh with that one. 14% said bodge, but 86% said hack, which is probably what we should have said. The next one's definitely a hack.
Is it?
Saying that now, yeah, it comes in from Anded103, Tour de France Toolbox. Le Tour inspired toolbox for all the maintenance bits and pieces. And look at the logo on the top, Le Tools.
Aha! That's amazing. I like that very much.
I'd buy one of them.
I think that's cool.
I would definitely buy one of them. You should think of going into manufacturing.
I'm loving how there's like sneaky glimpses of inside the drawers where everything looks so like beautifully spaced out.
Well, I noticed
and
you didn't listen to what I just said because you were so keen on looking at what he's got in his drawers.
What did you say? Was it something funny?
No, I just said that they should go into manufacturing because I'd buy one.
Oh, right. What, isn't the fact that you just said that you'd spend money on something?
Well, I can tell you hadn't been listening.
Yeah, no, that's a hack from me.
Okay, me too. 94%. Hack.
Wow. Okay, fair enough. Well deserved. Next up, we've got this one from Martin H. When you need to test ride the build, but the cranks haven't arrived yet. Had this crankset and bolt bracket, but no bolts. A quick release skewer fitted perfectly. There we go.
Bodge.
Yeah, mildly terrifying, but yes.
Mind you, you trust your quick releases to keep your wheels in, don't you?
You do? No, and that is a good point. I wouldn't be able to comment on the engineering similarities or differences to applications.
Well, I can, so... I'm still going to say bodge, it just looks ridiculous.
Better than a zip tie, though. Oh, yeah, that would get caught on my ankles.
What are the results of that one?
72% of people said bodge.
Yeah, thought it might be. Finally this week, Orwallin. Homemade front razor for my trainer. It started raining a lot in Java, Indonesia, so in case I cannot ride outside, I prepare my trainer. To avoid damaging my front wheel set, what are you doing to your front wheel set on the trainer? I draw a simple design for the front razor. Using some leftover wood, nails and spray paint, now I have a stable and also cost-effective front razor for my indoor trainer. No actual costs put down there, Si, to help your judgment of whether this is a hack or a bodge.
Well, I'm looking at the industrial design and thinking I like the look of it, irrespective of cost. I like that. Pleasing. But I am concerned about what you were doing to your front wheel.
What are you doing to the front wheel on the turbo trainer? You made me get angry in Zwift races, slamming it on the floor.
Could be like me, it could be sweat. I was thinking about that after the Zwift race the other day when I just saw my front headset just dripping in corrosive, salty water.
Yeah,
I thought,
you had to give it to your mechanic to clean up, didn't you?
Yeah, basically.
I'm going to go with hack for that one.
Yeah, me too. I like that very much.
69% versus 31. Hack versus bodge. So well done. Thanks for all of those. I love hacks and bodges. Don't forget to keep submitting them over on the GCN app.
It's time now for Caption competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below and we will pick a winner next week. First up, results.
Last week's photo was this one, and our winner of said bottle is Maciel... I should have read this beforehand. Gelens. Michel Gelens? Galens. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I
Sorry.
don't think I can improve on that though. Maybe it'll be written on screen and then you will be able to find
I'm
your
really
name.
sorry. I'm really sorry. I should have looked that up. Anyway, a great caption. They put, yikes, this isn't quite the pole position I had in mind.
That is genius. I love it.
Yeah, very good.
I really like
Well-deserved bottle will be winging its way to you.
Absolutely.
Or whatever you're called. I'm joking. I'll look it up afterwards. This week's photo comes from the first round of the World Cyclocross Cup in Tabor. So, do you want to get started?
Yes, I will do. I don't think it is Tabor, that one, is it?
Oh, is it not?
I think it might have been the day before. It looks like one of the super prestiges.
Yeah, it might
Anyway,
be.
we're geeking out on start-finish countries. This is Ellie Isabet, and I'm going to go with, no, my watch is a bit slow today.
Very
It's
good.
a bit
Si.
slow.
I think we might have had Ellie Isabet in a caption competition this time last year, and we did something very similar, didn't we?
Yeah, maybe. And if you're watching next year, you'll probably get another one as well.
They won't be. Leave your captions in the comments section down below. We'll pick a winner next
I
week.
tell you who won't be. It's that poor Michel Gelenci. He's not going to be watching
Cut
again,
quickly
is he?
now, and I'm going to look it up and come back in a sec. We will shortly be letting you know what's coming up on GCN over the next 7 days, but first up, as ever, our favourite comments from the previous 7. Now, when I arrived back in the office after 3 weeks off work this morning, Si said how pleased he was to see me, which I thought was very generous of him and a nice thing to hear. And then I started reading through the comments underneath last week's Zwift video, and I realised why. It's because he was the oldest person around. No longer now that I'm back. But I put a couple of those comments in for you, Si. I know you deleted a couple.
They were brutal.
But the first one comes in from Abhishek Ghosh. I'm seeing Si presenting GCN through the years, almost since the beginning. It's amazing seeing Si bested the recently retired and younger pros. Those old legs still has the power. Congrats.
Yeah,
and then
thanks.
David Slater, I haven't finished yet, Si. David Slater, well done, Si, sterling effort. You're an inspiration to the rest of us oldies. I don't know why I've got such glee, really, when I'm 2 years older than, am I 2 or 3 years older?
3, aren't you? Well, 2.5. No, 3. Well, yes. I mean, I think it's probably because I'm now part of your club, aren't I? Basically, the old guys. I don't know when it happened. It must have been overnight, almost. I swear I've aged 10 years in lockdown.
What we shouldn't have done is hire those pesky youngsters, should we? We should have hired older.
Basically, yeah, that would have helped a lot. But anyway, no, I was very touched that so many of you complimented me on my riding at the Zwift race, even if a few of you said that it was good because I was old. But anyway, underneath the gravel versus mountain bike video, which if you didn't see it at the weekend, was Hank going riding with Rich Payne from GmbN. It's a very fun video. The two of them had a lot of fun, even though they had to go for a swim in November. But anyway, Tobias Coates says, loving Hank's savage dig at Ollie and Si's noodle-like climber physiques. Perhaps Ollie should look to Hank for some running lessons. Well, he definitely should, but I think Hank's probably got to put a dig in because he got beaten in that Swiss race as well. So,
Meanwhile, underneath last week's GCN show, there were quite a lot of comments about Hank wearing stockings. What's that about?
Hank, I can't actually quite remember. Hank basically said that he wears stockings. Nice socks that you've got as arm warmers there. That's pretty cool.
They look a bit like my stockings that I put presents in, not like the other pair of stockings.
I was going to say, that's quite the confession. Just to slide in at the end of the GCN show. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. We'll come back to that later, shall we, James?
Erase that from your memory, have you?
Oh, yes,
anyway,
I have.
Emil wrote in saying, well, rather Hank's fully shaved legs wearing see-through stockings than Si's half-shaven.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Hardly Dan, great. Now I've got a picture of Hank dressed as Dr. Frankenfurter stuck in my head. And Eric Petterson, GCN's next video, GCN bought a Dunkin' Donut tandem bike and rode it cross-country back home. That doesn't seem to relate to his stockings, actually.
No. Actually, someone sent a message saying that they had just purchased a Dunkin' Donuts tandem. So please, if that was you, could you take some footage of you riding around on said Dunkin' Donuts tandem? Because I'm very intrigued and I can't imagine that it's going to work very well. So if it does, I'm pleasantly surprised that your $500 has not gone to waste, and I'd like to see it. So it could be Extreme Corner next week, actually. And then one last one. This had me chuckling last week from Hugh Oxford. One day, cycling the 13 miles home from work, I noticed my shadow. I thought it looked a bit weird, and then I realised my helmet was on backwards. Genius.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. All right, we should move on to what's coming up on the channel.
We should.
On Wednesday, which is tomorrow, if you're watching this on Tuesday, what to wear in winter.
Stockings.
Yes, apart from that though, we will have some good advice there. On Thursday, the 10 best ways to look after your bike in the winter months. And on Friday, how to lose weight in winter.
Then on Saturday, we've got hopefully an absolute corker for you. It's cutting edge versus classic. We got hold of two of Willier's nicest bikes. They're brand new Volante and their classic Super Leggera. And Ollie and I took them out for a bike ride and put them through their paces. So comparing.
Even noodly arms and legs.
Oh yeah, we even tried a sprint, which was mildly
you
amusing.
really did put them through their paces.
Oh yeah.
Are they still intact, those frames?
Hardly. Yeah. Anyway, and then on Sunday, would you believe, we raced a tidal wave. Literally raced a tidal wave. So
I can't wait to see the result of that.
GCN versus a tidal wave. Anyway, I can't wait to see that one either, actually. It's a natural phenomenon here in the UK called the Seven Bore, and Hank and Connor raced it. So there we go. So make sure you check that one out. And then Monday, of course, is the Racing News Show over on the GCN Racing channel. Well, you are getting on towards the end of the GCN show now, but we've got Extreme Corner for you this week. Yeah, Dan's back, Extreme Corner's back. It's all going off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Hank BMXing. Let's watch him drop in. Fair play again, though.
Yeah.
Actually attempting that in the first place. To find out whether he clears that following jump, you'll have to stay tuned to GCN in a couple of weeks' time, I think it is.
I believe, yeah, it's coming up at some point soon.
Right, well, just before we finish with the GCN show for this week, I've mastered the pronunciation of our Caption competition winner.
Oh, have you?
Have you? You ready?
Yes.
The winner was...
Michiel Gelijnse.
How do you say it again?
Michiel Gelijnse.
Obviously not my voice, that was the voice of Jose Bean, a Dutch commentator who often commentates in English and a master of linguistics.
And she did say, to be fair, didn't she, that was actually a really tough one to pronounce.
Yeah, the toughest, I think she described
The
it.
toughest
So I felt
name.
a little bit better about not being able to pronounce it. But
Yeah.
yeah, well done anyway, and thanks for watching this week. Been
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
to be back.
Yeah, it's good for you to be back, Dan. Enjoyed it very much.
I know why you think that.
Anyway, last chance to get a shout out to the GCN shop. We've also got loads of cool stuff in there at the moment in the run up to Christmas. Not least our core sweatshirts and t-shirts and the new GCN maintenance book as well.